The depth walkers arrive. The Cathara Empire had ruled the deep oceans of 300 worlds for over 2 millennia. Their bioengineered vessels, grown from living coral and mussel, could withstand pressures that would crush steel and navigate the darkest trenches with ease. When their scouts detected the third planet in Sol system, they saw what they had seen countless times before. Another blue world, ripe for conquest. Commander Zethkol adjusted his breathing apparatus as his flagship, a massive living creature that served as both home and weapon, descended through Earth's atmosphere. The planet's surface sparkled with the familiar blue of vast oceans, covering nearly 3/4 of the world. Perfect, the primitive inhabitants seemed to cluster on the small landmasses, leaving the true treasures of the planet undefended. "Status report," Zethkor commanded, his voice carrying through the bioneural network that connected all Cathara vessels. His second-in-command, Velthara, swam closer through the nutrient-rich fluid that filled their command chamber. Initial scans show extensive ocean coverage. Commander, depth readings indicate trenches exceeding our homeworld's deepest chasms. The surface dwellers appear to be a young species called humans. They show no significant underwater presence beyond primitive diving technology. Zethkol's tentacles writhed with satisfaction. "Excellent. Deploy the colony ships to the deepest trenches. Mariana, Puerto Rico, Japan, trench. Establish our cities there immediately. These surface crawlers won't even know we exist until we choose to reveal ourselves." The Cathara invasion fleet consisted of over 10,000 bioships, ranging from massive living citadels to swift hunter. Each vessel was a marvel of biological engineering, capable of regenerating damage, adapting to different pressures, and communicating through bioelectric pulses that traveled for hundreds of kilometers through water. As the fleet descended into Earth's oceans, they encountered the first signs of human presence. Fishing trawlers dotted the surface, their nets dragging through the upper waters. Zethkar watched with amusement as his scouts reported on these surface vessels. They trap food with primitive nets. Commander, no energy weapons, no Their vessels cannot even submerge properly. They are bound to the surface like algae. What the Cathara scouts failed to properly understand were the metallic shapes they detected moving far below the fishing fleets. Their biosensors registered these as crude underwater vehicles, probably failed attempts by humans to explore the depths. The readings showed metal constructions filled with air, obviously primitive and ineffective compared to Cathara bioengineering. 3 days after the initial landing, the first colony city was established in the Mariana Trench. The bioconstructors had grown a sprawling complex of living buildings, defense systems, and breeding chambers. Zethkor stood in his command spire, watching through bioluminescent displays as his people began their expansion into Earth's oceans. "Sir, we're detecting increased surface activity," Velthara reported. "The humans appear to be gathering their floating vessels near our outer territories." "Let them gather," Zethkor replied dismissively. "Surface dwellers cannot threaten the masters of the deep. Begin Phase 2. Start claiming the mid-level territories. Drive off any human presence we encounter." The attacks began at dawn. Cathara hunter-killers rose from the depths like nightmares from the abyss. Their bioelectric weapons could disable engines from hundreds of meters away, while their acid sprayers could eat through steel hulls in minutes. Fishing fleets from Japan to California found themselves under assault by creatures they couldn't comprehend. The USS Halibut, a research vessel collecting oceanographic data near the Aleutian Islands, became the first human ship to encounter the Cathara directly. Marine biologist Dr. Lisa Chen was reviewing sonar readings when her screen lit up with impossible contacts. "Captain Morrison, you need to see this," she called out, her voice tight with disbelief. "These readings, they're showing biological signatures the size of blue whales, but they're moving in formation and they're heading straight for us." Captain Dale Morrison, a 20-year Navy veteran, studied the sonar display with growing concern. "That's not possible. Whales don't move like that, and they certainly don't travel in perfect geometric formations." The answer came in the form of a massive bioship breaching the surface 200 meters off their starboard bow. The creature was unlike anything in any Earth taxonomy, a nightmare fusion of deep-sea predator and living technology. Bioluminescent patterns pulsed along its sides as weapon pods extended from its organic hull. "Battle stations," Morrison shouted, but he knew their small research vessel had nothing that could stand against whatever they were facing. The alien ship's bioelectric discharge struck the halibut's engines, leaving them dead in the water. Then the acid spray began eating through their hull. Morrison grabbed the radio as his ship began to sink. "Mayday, Mayday. This is USS Halibut. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. Biological entities, I repeat, biological hostile entities in the Aleutian Basin. They're not from Earth." 300 kilometers away, Captain Sarah Mitchell received that transmission aboard HMS Astute, one of Britain's most advanced nuclear attack submarines. She had been conducting routine patrol operations when the fragmenting distress call reached her through the underwater communication network. "Khan, sonar. I'm picking up massive biological signatures on the emergency frequency bearing." "Whatever attacked that research vessel? It's big and it's moving fast." Mitchell studied the tactical display. After 15 years commanding submarines, she had developed an instinct for underwater threats. This felt different. This felt alien. "Take us to periscope depth. I want to see what we're dealing with." What she saw through the periscope changed everything. The massive bioship that destroyed the halibut was unlike anything in human experience. But more disturbing were the dozens of similar contacts her sonar operator was tracking throughout the North Pacific. "Get me Fleet Command immediately," Mitchell ordered. "Priority Alpha transmission. We have a situation that goes way beyond our normal operational parameters." Within hours, submarine commands around the world were receiving similar reports. The Cathara had revealed themselves through their attacks on human shipping, and what they revealed was terrifying. Earth's oceans were being invaded by creatures that seemed designed for underwater warfare. Admiral Rebecca Torres, commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet's submarine force, convened an emergency meeting of Allied submarine commanders via encrypted underwater communications. Captains from American, British, Russian, Chinese, and French submarines linked their systems. In an unprecedented display of cooperation, "Ladies and gentlemen," Torres began, "we're facing something entirely outside our experience. These biological entities appear to be establishing bases in our deepest trenches and systematically attacking surface shipping. Intelligence suggests they're not from Earth." Captain Chenwei of the Chinese submarine Chang Zhengchan, 18, shared his encounter data. "My sonar tracked one of their large vessels moving at depths exceeding 8,000 meters. At those pressures, nothing biological from Earth could survive, yet these creatures seem perfectly adapted." "That's their mistake," said Captain Sarah Mitchell, her voice crackling over the encrypted channel. "They think depth gives them an advantage. They don't understand that humans have been fighting underwater for over a century. We've been perfecting the art of submarine warfare since World War I. Captain Viktor Kozlov of the Russian submarine Kazan added grimly, "My grandfather fought German U-boats in the Arctic. My father tracked American submarines during the Cold War. I've spent 20 years learning to hunt and kill in the deep ocean. These aliens may have evolved for water, but we humans turned ourselves into underwater predators by choice." The alien commander, Zethkal, remained confident as reports of human surface losses reached him. His bioships had sunk over 30 fishing vessels and disabled two research ships. The surface dwellers appeared helpless against Cathara biotechnology. Eldara expand operations to include their coastal installations. Show these primitives what happens when they enter domains they cannot comprehend. Yes, Commander. What about those metal objects our scouts detected? Should we investigate them? Zethkal's bioluminescent patches dimmed with dismissal. Metal coffins filled with air. Obviously failed experiments in underwater habitation. The humans tried to copy our mastery of the depths and failed. Ignore them. The hunt begins. The emergency signal from Zethkal's dying flagship rippled through the bioneural network connecting the Cathara fleet. For the first time in their species' history, the masters of the deep ocean found themselves being hunted by an enemy they had completely underestimated. Commander Vexmara, leader of the secondary strike force in the Atlantic Basin, received the fragmenting transmission with disbelief. Impossible. The surface dwellers cannot reach the deep territories. Their technology is primitive metal and crude chemicals. The answer came in the form of 4 torpedoes striking his bioship from 3 different directions simultaneously. The USS Virginia, USS Texas, and HMS Talent had been coordinating their attack through encrypted burst communications, using tactics developed during decades of submarine warfare exercises. Captain James Rodriguez of the USS Virginia watched through his periscope as the alien vessel writhed in its death throes. The bioluminescent patterns that had made it so easy to track were now flickering randomly as the creature's nervous system shut down. Khan, sonar. I'm tracking multiple biological contacts fleeing toward the mid-Atlantic ridge. Looks like a full retreat, sir. Rodriguez keyed his underwater communication system. All hunter-killer groups, this is Alpha 1. The aliens are running scared. Time to show them what Wolfpack tactics look like. The term Wolfpack had been coined by German U-boat commanders during World War II, describing coordinated submarine attacks that could devastate enemy shipping. Now, human submarine commanders were applying those same tactics against an alien invasion fleet. Captain Elizabeth Harper of the HMS Talent coordinated the Allied submarine response from her position near the Azores. Rodriguez, take your group and cut off their retreat to the south. Chen Wei, position your boats along the Bermuda Rise. Nothing gets through to deep water. The Cathara had never encountered coordinated pack hunting in an aquatic environment. Their bioships were designed for individual combat, relying on superior biotechnology and natural adaptation to dominate their enemies. They had no doctrine for fighting an enemy that treated the ocean as a 3-dimensional battlefield. Captain Chen Wei of the Changjun 18 demonstrated the effectiveness of human submarine doctrine when his boat encountered a fleeing Cathara colony ship. The massive biovessel was 3 times the size of his submarine, but size became a liability when faced with a predator that could remain undetected. Fire control, set torpedoes to proximity detonation. I want to cripple that thing, not destroy it immediately. The Chinese torpedoes detonated alongside the alien ship, their shaped charges tearing through bioarmor and disabling the creature's propulsion systems. As the wounded vessel struggled to maintain depth, Chen Wei's submarine surfaced nearby and deployed its emergency ballast system to ram the alien ship from below. The impact drove both vessels toward the surface, but the submarine's reinforced hull survived the collision, while the bioship's more delicate internal structures were crushed by the sudden pressure change. The alien crew adapted for deep water. Survival began suffering decompression injuries as their ship breached the surface. "This is Changjiang 18 to all Allied units," Chen Wei reported. "Ramming attack successful. The aliens cannot handle rapid pressure changes. Recommend forcing them to shallow water." This intelligence revolutionized the human response. Captain Viktor Kozlov of the Russian submarine Kazan immediately began implementing depth charge attacks, designed to drive alien vessels toward crushing pressures rather than destroying them outright. "The beauty of depth charges," Kozlov explained to his crew as they prepared their attack, "is that they create pressure waves in all directions. These biological ships may be adapted for deep water, but they still have pressure limits." The Kazan's depth charge attack caught a group of Cathara hunter-killers in the Denmark Strait. The explosions created massive pressure waves that crushed the aliens' bioengineered hulls like eggs. What had taken their species millennia to evolve was defeated by human weapons designed in 1916. But it was the nuclear submarines that truly terrified the Cathara. The alien bioships needed to surface periodically to exchange gases and take on nutrients. Nuclear submarines could remain submerged for months, appearing and disappearing like mechanical ghosts in the deep ocean. Captain Lisa Park of the USS Jimmy Carter stalked a Cathara command vessel for 18 hours, learning its patrol patterns and communication schedules. When she finally attacked, it was with the precision of a surgeon and the ruthlessness of a predator. "The target surfaces every 4 hours for exactly 12 minutes, she told her weapons officer. "We'll be waiting at periscope depth when it comes up. Full spread, proximity fused. I want that thing disabled, not destroyed." The attack went perfectly. The alien command ship caught on the surface while conducting its biological maintenance cycle was crippled by torpedo hits that destroyed its diving capability. As it wallowed helplessly on the surface, Captain Park established communication with the alien commander. "This is Captain Lisa Park of the United States Navy. You are in violation of international waters and have committed acts of war against civilian vessels. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." The alien commander, struggling with the translator system damaged by the torpedo attack, managed a response. You are surface dwellers. You cannot fight in the deep territories. This is impossible. Impossible." Park replied with grim humor. "We've been fighting underwater since before your grandparents were born. The only difference is that we had to learn to do it in machines, while you were born to it naturally. Turns out, the machines make us better at it." The psychological impact of losing their natural advantage began to fracture Cathara resistance. Throughout Earth's oceans, their bioships found themselves outmaneuvered by human submarines that could appear from any direction, strike with devastating force, and disappear before retaliation was possible. The breaking point came when human research vessels joined the fight. The deep-sea research submarine limiting factor, operated by Triton Submarines, had been conducting routine deep ocean research when the invasion began. Its pilot, Dr. Michael Torres, had spent years exploring the deepest parts of Earth's oceans. "You know what's funny about these aliens?" Dr. Torres radioed to the USS Connecticut as he maneuvered his research sub into position. They think they know deep water. I've been to the bottom of every major trench on Earth. I know places in the ocean where no living thing should be able to survive. Dr. Torres led the alien pursuit into the Challenger Deep, the deepest known point in Earth's oceans. At 11 kilometers below sea level, the pressure exceeded anything the Cathara bioships had been designed to handle. Their living hulls, perfectly adapted for their home ocean worlds, began to implode as Dr. Torres led them deeper and deeper into the abyss. USS Connecticut, this is a limiting factor. The aliens are experiencing structural failure at maximum depth. I'm reading multiple hull breaches and what looks like decompression injuries to their crew. The irony was perfect. The Cathara masters of deep ocean worlds had been defeated by humans who had learned to explore depths that exceeded their natural biological limits. Humanity's weakness had become their greatest strength. As news of the deep ocean defeats reached the remaining Cathara forces, panic began to spread through their bioneural network. These surface dwellers weren't the primitive species they had appeared to be. They were predators who had turned their inability to naturally survive underwater into a tactical advantage. The final battle took place in the Pacific Deep, where the largest concentration of Cathara colony ships had established their primary base. Admiral Rebecca Torres coordinated a joint operation involving submarine forces from 12 nations, the largest underwater military operation in human history. All submarines, this is Fleet Command. We have located the primary alien base at coordinates 21.4 north, 158.2 west, depth 9,000 meters. This is a coordinated strike. No one goes in alone, no one comes out alone. The attack resembled nothing so much as a pack of mechanical sharks descending on their prey. Nuclear submarines provided heavy firepower, while diesel-electric boats used their silent running capability to approach undetected. Research vessels and converted civilian submarines created chaos with improvised weapons and experimental technologies. Captain Sarah Mitchell, who had fired the first shots of the war, led HMS Astute in the final assault on the alien command center. As her torpedoes tore through the bioengineered structures that housed the Cathara leadership, she opened communications on all frequencies. This is Captain Mitchell of the Royal Navy to all alien vessels. You came to our oceans thinking we were surface dwellers who couldn't fight you in deep water. You were wrong. Humans have been perfecting underwater warfare. For over a century, we built submarines because we decided the oceans belonged to us too. You've just learned what that means. The surviving Cathara forces began a panicked retreat from Earth's oceans. As their bioships fled toward deep space, Commander Vel, now the highest-ranking survivor of the invasion fleet, transmitted a final warning to the Cathara home worlds. Emergency signal to High Command. Earth conquest operation terminated. Species designation: extreme hazard. These surface dwellers have weaponized their inability to naturally survive underwater. They create mechanical predators that are superior to our biotechnology. Recommend quarantine of entire star system. They turn their weaknesses into weapons. The message that reached other alien civilizations throughout the galaxy was even more succinct. Avoid the third planet of Sol system. The surface dwellers there put themselves in metal coffins to fight better underwater. They are not natural ocean dwellers, which makes them more dangerous than anything that is. Earth's submarines returned to their patrol routes, disappearing once again into the depths they had claimed as their own. The ocean belonged to humanity not because they were born to it, but because they had decided it would be theirs and built the tools to make that decision reality. And in the deepest trenches of Earth's oceans, human research vessels continued their exploration of places where no natural life could survive, ready to teach the next would-be invader that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that shouldn't be able to hunt there at all.